there's just something about 1980s cars. The boxy lines, the chrome trim, the clunky cassette decks, all of it feels like a time capsule from a world that was simpler, slower, and maybe just a little tougher. Back then, cars were built with durability in mind, not delicate computer chips. And while modern vehicles may be faster, flashier, and packed with technology, there's a reason so many 80s cars are still running strong today. Today, we're looking at 12 reasons cars from the 1980s will outlast modern cars. 1. Steel over plastic. Pop the hood of an 80s car and you'll notice something right away: metal. Lots of it. From the bumpers to the body panels, most of these cars were built from thick steel. They could take a hit, scrape a guardrail, or even shrug off a minor fender bender without crumpling like a soda can. Over the years, plastic has replaced much of that steel to save weight and cost, but plastic doesn't age as gracefully. 2. Engines built simple. Back then, engines were straightforward. Carburetors, spark plugs, belts, and hoses, you could see it all, and you didn't need a degree in computer science to work on one. If your car broke down in the 80s, a basic toolbox and a good repair manual might be all you needed. Today's engines, packed with sensors and electronics, are powerful but fragile. The simpler 80s designs just keep running. 3. Less electronics to fail. Step into a modern car and it's like entering a rolling computer lab. Screens, sensors, Bluetooth modules, all waiting for the day they glitch out. In the 80s, the fanciest tech you might have was power windows or a digital clock. Less to break meant fewer expensive repairs down the line. Simplicity was the secret ingredient for longevity. 4. Manual everything. Hand crank windows. Manual locks. Knobs you turned instead of touch screens you tapped. These features may seem outdated, but they rarely broke. And if they did, you could fix them yourself in an afternoon. Today, one faulty electronic switch can leave you stranded at the dealership, waiting on a costly part that might not even exist in 10 years. 5. Overbuilt parts. In the 1980s, carmakers often leaned toward durability instead of shaving every ounce for fuel savings. Suspensions were beefier, frames were sturdier, and engines were designed to be repaired, not replaced. Many of these cars were overbuilt compared to today's lean designs, and that toughness has helped them stand the test of time. 6. Room to work under the hood. Ask any old-school mechanic, and they'll tell you, 80s cars gave you space to work. You could pop the hood and actually reach the parts without removing half the engine bay. Modern cars, crammed with electronics, turbos, and emission systems, often require hours just to change a simple spark plug. The accessibility of 80s cars makes them easier and cheaper to keep alive. 7. Mechanical fuel systems. Before fuel injection took over, many 80s cars ran on carburetors. These mechanical devices weren't perfect, but they were easy to repair and tune. If you had a flathead screwdriver and a little patience, you could get your car running again. Today's high-tech injection systems are efficient but expensive to replace when they fail. 8. Less rust-prone than the 70s. The 70s were notorious for cars that rusted almost overnight. By the 80s, automakers had learned some hard lessons. Better rust-proofing and galvanized steel made these cars sturdier against the elements. That's why you still see 80s trucks and sedans cruising around rural America today, their paint faded but their bodies intact. 9. Boxy, durable design. There's a reason 80s cars still turn heads. They were built like bricks. Sharp corners, straight edges, and wide frames gave them a tough, lasting presence. Unlike today's sleek, aerodynamically sculpted cars, these designs weren't chasing computer-modeled perfection. They were built with durability in mind, and that ruggedness has carried them through the decades. 10. Fewer safety gadgets. It sounds backwards, but fewer safety gadgets meant fewer things that could go wrong. No airbags to replace, no sensors to recalibrate, no fragile radar systems hidden in the bumper. Safety has certainly improved over time, but those early cars were raw, mechanical machines. With fewer moving parts in the safety systems, they simply lasted longer. 11. Engines meant to be rebuilt. In the 80s, if your engine wore out, you didn't toss the car, you rebuilt it. Shops were everywhere that specialized in remachining engines and giving them a second life. Today, many modern engines are treated as disposable, sealed units. Once they go, the car often goes with them. But those 80s power plants were made to be fixed and kept alive. 12. Cars were a lifetime investment. Finally, the culture was different. In the 80s, people bought cars with the idea of keeping them for years, maybe even decades. Automakers knew this, and they built cars with longevity in mind. Today, the cycle of leasing, trading, and upgrading pushes manufacturers to focus more on short-term sales than long-term survival. But those 80s cars? They were built to last, and many of them still do. The cars of the 1980s may not have all the bells and whistles of today, but they carry something far more valuable: staying power. They remind us of a time when durability mattered, when a car was more than just a gadget on wheels. Which 80s car do you think will outlive them all? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, be sure to like, subscribe, and join us again next time, here on Black and White American.